invited to come to the McDonald's at Love's on the Ford Avenue exit. And I waited in line to get my food. I had already done my mobile order so that, you know, people don't pay for my stuff, because I just always like to pay for it myself. But I'm on my way home from work. When I pull up to the window, they hand me my receipt, so I go to the second window to get my food, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And so the girl comes to the window and asks me what my order was. I repeat my order and my coffee order, and they ask me to pull up because my food's not ready. It's an English muffin meal with a hash brown and coffee. And I mean, I hadn't eaten since probably about, I mean, I've been up for a very long time, but I haven't eaten in a while, so I was kind of hungry. And I'm still waiting, and I'm still waiting, and they asked me to pull up. So I pull up forward, and a girl comes out with my coffee, and just the coffee, and she hands it to me, and I have my window down, and that's all she hands me is the coffee. So I told her, I said, don't bother with the food, because right now I'm too nervous to take it. It doesn't matter how many hours I've been up. It doesn't matter what I've done for anyone. Right now I'm too nervous to take a meal from McDonald's because I can't see it being made. I don't know what's going on with people nowadays, but please, just give us a break. Please just give us a break. I don't know how much more I can take. I've been in this for 15 years, and I've never, ever had such anxiety about waiting for McDonald's drive-thru food. So just have a heart, and if you see an officer, just tell them thank you, because I don't hear thank you enough anymore.
Hey, what's going on, fam? So another quick video. Y'all just saw that viral video of the woman a lot of people are calling Officer Karen. I'm not even sure her real name, but as everyone knows, Karen is kind of like the street nickname for any hysterical, overreacting, or racist white woman, or a combination of any of those characteristics. And basically, she was having, as you saw, an emotional breakdown because she had to wait on an Egg McMuffin. And that's something that millions of Americans go through every day. I mean, in the past year alone, I've had to pull up and wait 10, 15 minutes at a Taco Bell, at a Popeyes, at a Wendy's, at a McDonald's. And even to the point where sometimes 2 and 3 people behind me got served before me. And yes, it's annoying. So don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit up here and act like it didn't affect me at all. So it's annoying, but it's not anything near to the degree of having an emotional breakdown and crying. Yet, the people who run around here talking about back the badge, black the boo, these right-wing white supremacists who come up with all these slogans to try to equate being a cop with being a black person, and in a lot of ways try to make it seem like being a cop is a worse oppression than being a black person. And these are the same people that will try to tell you that we're supposed to revere cops because their jobs are so high pressure and they deal with the high pressure, toughest situations. Yet, when we see this Officer Karen, she can't even deal with the high pressure of waiting on an Egg McMuffin. And it's not just her. We see other cops across the country throwing these temper tantrums and having these kind of overreactions or fabricating things to make themselves seem more oppressed than they are when they're not oppressed at all. Because if you want to equate being blue to being black, that's why you say blue lives matter. Guess what? You can take the blue off. I can't take the black off. I don't want to take the black off, but even if I did, I can't. White supremacy would be easily solved if black people could just take off their blackness whenever they decided that they didn't want to deal with white supremacy. They could just take off being black. So the fact that you would even say that shows how ridiculous and offensive the white supremacists are. But I'm not here to get too deep into, how ridiculous the slogan Blue Lives Matter is. I'm just saying the cops are supposed to be these people who are so highly skilled and highly trained, and they run towards the danger when everyone else is running away from it. Yet, I'm supposed to be able to trust a woman who can't even handle the pressure of waiting on an Egg McMuffin to be able to handle the high pressure situation of a hostage negotiation or a bank robbery or even a domestic violence dispute without killing somebody unnecessarily. We're supposed to trust her to handle high pressure situations as a cop, life or death situations as a cop, when she can't even handle the quote unquote high pressure situation of waiting on a goddamn Egg McMuffin. And it's reflective of the cop culture around the nation, because we see cops acting the same way in different precincts across the nation. We saw cops in New York try to pull a stunt where they tried to lie and say that they were poisoned at a Shake Shack, which was a fucking lie. Other articles have already come out debunking that as a lie. So we already have we have other officers claiming they had glass in their pizza. I don't remember where that was, but I do remember hearing or reading about somewhere some officer was claiming that he was given glass in his pizza or some bullshit like that. And I want y'all to, when you have a chance, go back and look on my channel from 3 years ago. I made a channel called The Culture of Lies. And I talked about how, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to put the Culture of Lies videos in the description box. I talked about how white supremacists will go out of their way to fabricate incidents and how sick and demonic the white supremacist mind is. How they will go out of their way to completely fabricate incidents in order to justify and defend white supremacy. I was talking about how white supremacists would vandalize their own property or harm themselves in order to be able to say a black person did it. And it was a lot of times in reaction to the same thing that was going on now. Police protests. Actually, one of the stories I covered in that video was of a white female police officer shooting herself and then blaming it on a black person, or some cop or ex-cop who spray painted his car and vandalized his car Black Lives Matter in order to be able to blame it on black people and say this is the culture of Black Lives Matter. They're doing the same thing now. And we got officers in New York doing it and officers in Georgia doing it. So I don't want to hear about how officers are different, because if y'all remember those race soldiers in New York, when they had their man-child temper tantrum about how people aren't respecting them anymore, and how they shouldn't be held accountable for what other cops do in Minneapolis, and how they all agreed how horrible it was. Yet, we're not supposed to hold you accountable to any other, or hold against you what other officers do. Yet, when we see how you officers act, no matter where you are in the nation, you all react the same. For example, that race soldier who killed Rayshard Brooks, now that it's been caught that he not only did he shoot him unnecessarily, but afterwards he kicked him, and the other officers stood on him instead of calling for immediate medical attention like you're supposed to do after you have to shoot or otherwise physically harm a suspect. We see after he did that and he got caught on video being a bad cop, we see a bunch of cops in Atlanta calling out, talking about some blue flu crap, trying to call out and scare people and make us feel like society's gonna fall apart if they all call out of work. We're supposed to be oh so scared when they call out of work, and the fact that they're even doing that and throwing a department-wide temper tantrum because a bad cop got caught, that shows you that it's a culture. So I'm tired of, a lot of us, not just me, but a lot of us, and especially me, are tired of hearing about the bad cops and the bad apples. Because whenever the bad cop or the bad apple gets caught being a bad cop or a bad apple, as long as he's not a black cop, all the other cops back him and show solidarity with him and try to protect him. Not only do they not stop him from being a bad cop in the first place, but after he gets caught, they all want to walk off and walk out and quit and strike and all of this stuff and have big ass temper tantrums. The same thing was done in Buffalo when that race soldier got caught pushing down that old white man for no reason unprovoked. Guess what? And cracked his head open on the skull. Guess what? All the other cops, of like 59 other cops in that department in Buffalo, New York, resigned. So those cops in the city of New York want to scream about how cops are so different. Yet we see cops acting the same all across the nation. We see officers in Georgia and officers in New York all fabricating stories to make themselves seem more targeted than they are. We see officers in Georgia and officers in New York all walking off the job because a bad cop actually got charged. Now, one thing I do want to say is, you notice they don't ever do that for black cops. When Muhammad Noor got charged, didn't nobody walk off the job for him. When those black cops who shot at a white father who had his white child in the car with him doing a high-speed chase and was driving the car at the black cop, so they shot into the car and accidentally killed the child. You want to talk about fear for life? These white supremacists want to sit up here and say these cops had a right to fear for their life because Rayshard Brooks was firing an empty taser at them. An empty taser because the cartridges had already been unloaded. Yet cops who are having cars driven at them, they're not supposed to fear for their life. You see, if that same situation, speaking of that white man who was driving his car at black cops and they had to shoot into a car, if that was a black father driving his car at white cops and they ended up shooting and killing his child, guess what? They would charge that father with murder of his own son. They've done that before. When the cops come in and do a bust and during the commission of the crime they kill someone else, a lot of times they will charge the person who they came after with the murder of the person that they killed. Because they use the justification that because I had to kill this person pursuing you, you're responsible for their murder. But yet when a black cop does it, all that goes out the window. And of course they make sure to charge the black cops with it. Ain't no more back to badge crap. But again, fam, this was not meant to be a very long video. This is just me talking about how this reflects the culture of policing. And back to that Officer Karen woman, fam, she can't handle having a gun. She can't handle being a cop. Because she can't handle the pressure of waiting on a goddamn Egg McMuffin. But again, that was just another quick video just to tell you guys how the cops are behaving now shows the culture of policing and the culture of race soldiers that needs to be fixed. We need to have police departments across the country tore down and rebuilt from the ground up. We need to have massive sweeping changes on race soldiers across this nation. Or we need to be able to build independent communities so we can, as at least black people, control our own police departments and let white people deal with their psychotic on-edge race soldiers. One or the other needs to happen. But anyway, that's another video. Like, share, subscribe, and peace.